Self-control is a key factor in achieving success. We can't control everything in life, but we can definitely control ourselves. Such power there is in clear-eyed self-restraint. The best fighter is never angry. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By constant self-discipline and self-control, you can develop greatness of character. The secret of success is learning how to use pain and pleasure instead of having pain and pleasure use you. If you do that, you're in control of your life. If you don't, life controls you. Superior people never make long visits. To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart. In the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you. Seek always for the answer within. Be not influenced by those around you, by their thoughts or their words. What we do upon some great occasion will probably depend on what we already are, and what we are will be the result of previous years of self-discipline. I am very happy because I have conquered myself and not the world. Don't speak unless you can improve on the silence. If you learn self-control, you can master anything. Don't be curious of matters that don't concern you. Never speak of them, and don't ask about them. Never respond to an angry person with a fiery comeback, even if he deserves it. Don't allow his anger to become your anger. We improve ourselves by victories over ourselves. There must be a contest, and we must win. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living creatures. When you borrow trouble, you give your peace of mind as security. Any woman who is sure of her own wits is a match at any time for a man who is not sure of his own temper. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. The man who masters his own soul will forever be called the conqueror of conquerors. One can be the master of what one does, but never of what one feels. You must have discipline to have fun. I will be calm. I will be mistress of myself. Your brain shall be your servant instead of your master. You will rule it instead of allowing it to rule you. The ability to discipline yourself to delay gratification in the short term in order to enjoy greater rewards in the long term is the indispensable prerequisite for success. When the fight begins within himself, a man's worth something. Self-control is the chief element in self-respect, and self-respect is the chief element in courage. The highest possible stage in moral culture is when we recognize that we ought to control our thoughts. Self-control is one mark of a mature person. It applies to control of language, physical treatment of others, and the appetites of the body. He who reigns within himself and rules passions, desires, and fears is more than a king. There never has been and cannot be a good life without self-control. If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self. I think self-discipline is something. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise IT, the stronger IT gets. The first and best victory is to conquer self. To be conquered by self is, of all things, the most shameful and objectionable. IT is essential that we not respond impulsively to impressions. Take a moment before reacting, and you will find it easier to maintain control. In that power of self-control lies the seed of eternal freedom. If you conquer yourself, then you conquer the world. I cannot trust a man to control others if he cannot control himself. Not to have control over the senses is like sailing in a rudderless ship, bound to break to pieces on coming in contact with the very first rock. The enemy is within the gates. IT is with our own luxury, our own folly, our own criminality that we have to contend. One's greatest challenge is to control oneself. Not being able to govern events, I govern myself. Don't make a mouse of yourself, or else you will be eaten by cats.